Yesterday's presidential primary vote in Massachusetts was only one part of a larger event known as Super Tuesday. If the results around the country go a long way to set the stage for the November election, you can also draw conclusions about the vote from Boston. To help us do that is our guest, a seasoned political strategist, Joyce Ferriabough Bolling. Thank you very much for being with us, Joyce.
Thank you.
First, did anything surprise you? I mean, some of this was predicted, Hillary's support in the black community and Trump's. I mean, was there anything else going on there that really made you think, wait a minute, this looks strange?
Well, actually, I thought that Bernie Sanders would get a little more. I thought he would eke out Massachusetts, but I think that clearly Boston, with its was the tool that helped them, go over a little. She just tweaked by. I think that. I expected from previous amounts that Trump garnered for Trump to come out really strong, but clearly not as strong as he did come out with. About 177,000 Democrats and independents pulling the Republican lever here in Massachusetts. That is deep. And I think that, the fact that Hillary received votes from, mostly areas that in the final don't vote Democratic.
Now, you're talking about around the country, of course.
Yes,
right.
But I'm talking about, that Massachusetts shows from the 177,000 Democrats and independents who did not vote Democrat but pulled for Republican. That, to me, was pretty astonishing. I thought that there'd be some, there always is, but not to that extent. So it just shapes a picture for me of what might happen in other states around the country.
And of course, you already saw this in South Carolina. It was strong black vote, but a state that is almost deeply red.
Sure.
So what about the final? Because, I mean, there is definitely an edge in the black vote for Hillary, and at the same time, you say, well, is the turnout going to be there the way it was for Obama?
Well, first of all, of course, as you know, the turnout in the South Carolina primary was higher for her than it was for Obama in 2008. And so that says something. And the fact that without the black vote, and no one's going to win in the Democratic Party without the black vote. So black votes matter. And I think that, it's 25% of the electorate that are staunchly, Democratic. And I think that throughout the South, she will get, momentum from large black votes who, of course, they would not go for Trump, Rubio, because they're talking politics that are, have racial and ethnic negative implications. That they would not go for that. And even the two Hispanic guys, Rubio and Cruz, I don't think they're going to get much traction in the South either. And as you saw, they didn't get much in the North, but they did get some strange. I mean, he got his home court. Cruz did.
Texas, of course.
Rubio could lose Florida. I mean, Rubio could literally lose Florida right now. Trump is leading in Florida, and I'm sure he'd like to show little Marco, something for saying he had little hands. So this is the kind of level that we've gotten into with the Republicans. It's very entertaining. It's like a reality show, I say to people, and now it's going to be the Trump and Hillary show, because I don't see how any one of them who are running, and I understand Carson's getting ready to leave. There was an announcement just a few minutes ago that he's taking, toll of his race. He and the governor from Ohio,
Kasich, right,
Kasich.
Right.
I mean, neither one, and I think Kasich is who the governor voted for.
Our
governor.
That would not surprise me too much. What about Sanders and why he didn't do as well as some people thought he would have? I mean, especially in terms of, building connections to the black community. I didn't see a whole lot of that going on, even with Latinos necessarily.
Well, I was surprised by that too, because he has some key people in his campaign who are of color. I think, part of it might be Vermont, where there's a very, minuscule population of African Americans, but he has a great background. I mean, he was he did contribute and do things in the civil rights movement, even though John Lewis erroneously said that Hillary was there. On the reverse side, Hillary's husband did some things, as you know, legislatively, that really hurt the black community, whether it was the welfare reform piece that was just too draconian, or whether it was around, some of the legal things that he did with mandatory minimums and on and on. The black community took a lot, but you can't ascribe that to her. That's, her husband. I think people have a different feel about her than they did her husband. So, I think Bill is doing okay by, helping her and so forth, but I think the tide will change. I think Trump's going to come out firing on him with both barrows in terms of, just his, extracurricular activity, let's say.
What about that? Because I look at the votes for Trump in Boston, and especially I think his most decisive wins were precincts in East Boston and
some parts of
Dorchester, like Neponset, Cedar Grove. And again, these are not places with a lot of Republicans either, but
but they're very conservative. They're very conservative Democrats in those areas. You want to call them, the Reagan Democrats, or more conservative Democrats. There are pockets in those areas, and I believe if you really go deeper into the analysis, that you'll find that quite a few are the ones who pulled away from the Democratic Party to vote for Trump. Okay, because the ideas that he espouses are some ideas that they also hold because of their conservatism.
One thing I have to suspect from what's going on with Trump's discourse is that no matter whether he wins or not, this is really going to have a lasting effect on political alignments.
Well, I have to say this, okay, because clearly I'm not a Trump, supporter, but I can tell you that much of what he's done has really kind of galvanized the Republican Party. Now, good or bad, it has galvanized them, and I can see a transitioning that he's undergoing where he is now wanting to be the conciliator, the person who brings folks together. But I do think that, the rank and file, including the Speaker of the House, are like totally chastising him. I mean, how can you not disavow right away someone who's associated with the KKK? Okay, now here's a party that's trying to get more minorities involved, and you've got the standard bearer, if you want to call him that, or you want to call him the lead guy, talking about building fences to keep folks who are of Hispanic heritage out, and he is really speaking to feelings that folks are having who may not express it. And some of it's base, it's really base, but some of it is a reality where people are thinking like we're going to hell, the United States is going to hell in a high basket. But it was very interesting when he said, well, what does Hillary mean? I want us to be great, and she's talking about whole. Well, what is that? I mean, he's a master showman. Let's just face that. And he's even when he was talking to the reporters, who you guys, he's sort of like put you in a situation where I'm not going to answer you if I don't have to. I'm not even coming to your debates if I don't want to. And folks are saying, yeah, give it to him. So it just is a very weird, chain of events. It's like nothing. It's very entertaining. Let's just put it that way.
Reality TV. Thank you very much for being with us.
Okay, thank you.
Joyce Ferriabough Bolling. In a moment, priorities for improving the MBTA, but first, this message.